Ronnie Kray, along with his identical twin brother Reggie, were notorious celebrity gangsters that operated in London in the swinging 60s. Both of them were convicted for various crimes in 1969. For Reggie, this included murder, so he walked into a pub and he shot a rival gang member in the head because of a gay slur. Ronnie was, by the way, gay. Ronnie was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia and he was sectioned to Broadmoor Hospital in 1979 and he died there of a heart attack in 1995. So, what was Ronnie Kray's psychological makeup? How did his symptoms contribute to his crimes? What other factors drove his offending? And could Ronnie have eventually been discharged from Broadmoor? And even, what is Broadmoor? What is the purpose of Broadmoor? I'm going to be answering all of those questions and more. And on top of all of that, I'm going to give you my own psychological formulation and my own theories about why Kray committed his murder in this video. You're watching a series of around 6 real-life patients that I'm going to be talking about who are from Broadmoor. I'm going to be giving you my professional insights and my theories as a forensic psychiatrist. I actually worked in Broadmoor Hospital as a middle grade psychiatrist around 7 years ago. I've already done one video on this series about Robert Maudsley, who's an English serial killer, so you should go and check that out. So first, let me tell you a bit about the Kray's background. So the twins were born in October 1933. As I said, Ronnie died in March 1995 at the age of 61 from a heart attack whilst he was in Broadmoor. And the twins basically controlled organised crime in the East End of London. The Krays committed murder, armed robbery, arson, protection rackets, assault. Plus, there's rumours that they would have boxes of cereal and put them back before the cereal was even finished. They were both convicted in 1969 to life imprisonment. Ronnie was sectioned to Broadmoor a whole 10 years later in 1979, which to me suggests he must have been relatively well for at least some of that time psychiatrically in prison, because 10 years is a very long time before eventual discharge. So going back into their earlier years, as kids during the Second World War, they were both evacuated to Suffolk and both twins took up amateur boxing. They were both called up for national service in the British Army in 1952, and they took exception to this. They attempted to leave. Ronnie actually smashed the jaw of a corporal in charge who tried to stop them leaving. And unsurprisingly, they were both dishonorably discharged from the army. And while they were serving their sentence for this, their behavior was atrocious. They had thrown feces at a sergeant. They threw hot tea on a particular guard, which is just as bad, but to be fair, slightly more hygienic. They handcuffed a guard to the prison bars at one point. They set their own bedding on fire. They assaulted another guard with a vase and they smashed the vase on the head and used that as a means to escape, which might not be the most effective way of escaping, but it's definitely the most slapstick and I would highly recommend it. And then after all of that, they became full-time criminals. So they were involved in hijacking, armed robbery, arson, but they also acquired nightclubs and other properties and started to become quite influential in the West End. So for the overseas viewers, the East End of London tends to be quite rough, and that's where the Krays were from. And the West End of London is thought to be a bit more kind of glamorous. That is, for example, where all the main theatre shows are held. What's unique about the Krays, I think, is because they were celebrities in their own right as well as criminals. And we all know that if you've made a life of crime, you need to go legit. So they had legitimate businesses. They were in fact nightclub owners, and they would brush shoulders with their celebrity friends who would include Frank Sinatra, Shirley Bassey, Cliff Richard, Barbara Windsor, rest in peace. I have to say Cliff Richard is the one that surprises me the most about all of them. So if you're foreign or if you're not as old as I am, you might not know who he is, but he's this like sweet elderly crooner, but he's got this real sort of goody two shoes image. He does like Christian songs. He, supports family values. So it's kind of like the equivalent of Mary Berry hanging out with the Gallagher brothers. Hello, cruel world. What you just saw there was a tiny little tantalizing taste, kind of nutty, of a much longer episode. You should go check it out if you're interested. The link will be in the description below. If you're a fan of either true crime or mental illness or the crossover between the two, then you've got to go and check out my main YouTube channel, A Psych for Sore Minds. My name is Dr. Sohom Das. I'm a consultant forensic psychiatrist. I assess mentally disordered offenders for a living so that you don't have to. My channel covers a whole range, a smorgasbord of topics related to true crime and mental illness. For example, high-profile true crime cases with my own kind of personal psychoanalysis of individuals. I discuss issues related to criminality. I discuss individual diagnoses. I give advice about psychiatric problems. I interview ex-patients. I do a lot. There is something for everybody on my channel, and I implore you to go and check it out. You can even steal some of my ideas, palm them off as your own to impress your friends and impress people at dinner parties. It's all good. I've got your back. Until next time, stay euthymic, check out my channel, and please do not forget, I love you.